What's going on, Army? I got something I'd like to share with you today. I hope you get a kick out of this. We make a lot of jokes about being in prison, and we've said this before, but it's not a joking matter. But a lot of funny stuff happens on the other side of that wall or fence or gate or door or whatever. A lot of funny stuff happens. And I don't know, I got a pretty funny sense of humor. Maybe I laugh at some things that shouldn't be laughed at. And this story is another prison fight. But there are some circumstances in this situation that made it twice as funny to me anyways. Y'all remember the story I told you about Mr. Puerto Rican Day Parade? Sir Smacks a lot. Y'all remember that story? Well, shortly after that, I found myself in another pod. That's where I'm gonna go, is to another pod, because you're not going anywhere else. You're locked up, Dave. That's where you're going. So anyways, I'm in a pod. It's a decent place to be. I know that sounds crazy, but shoot, man. Everybody seemed to get along. There wasn't no animosity, no tension, no nothing. The pod was actually a easy place to do time. There wasn't much going on, but cards and TV and reading books. Like, everybody was just chill. It was relaxed. It was a good place to do time. If you have to do time, there's ideal circumstances to do time in, and this was one of them. I didn't have to worry about anything. Well, eventually, you got a bunch of guys in the same room together. Something's bound to happen, and something did happen. Before I go any further, I want to explain to you about something. I was green. If you don't know what green means, I'm going to go with, hey Joe, what's a good way to describe being green?
What'd you say?
What's a good way to describe being green?
Being green?
Being green.
Look at that background behind you. That's pretty green. You was as green as that green screen.
Man, what are you talking about? I see bars.
You see bars now?
I see bars.
Let me turn off the green. You see bars now?
Okay, it's green. It's green. All right, so I was green. How would you describe that though? Naive?
You ain't know nothing about being locked up.
I didn't know. That's it. I didn't know nothing about being locked up. I didn't know.
You was fresh meat.
Fresh meat. Hey, ain't nothing worse than when you first got locked up and you go in that first pod and you see all those people for the first time. And they're just staring at you, and they just know. They smell it on you.
But what you trying to do when you walking up there? Because you ain't trying to let nobody know you green.
No, you actually kind of poke your chest out a little bit. And for real, for me, whenever I see new fish come in, it's those guys, you can pick them out. The ones that are like, you're like, man, that's his first bid. Nobody walk into a pod like, who's doing that? Who does that? Did you do that?
Every time. Every time.
Well, I was green. Thank you, Joe, for your expertise. I was naive. I didn't know any of the lingo. I didn't know how to carry myself in this situation. All I knew was I was in big boy jail and mind my business. That was the rule that I stuck by, was mind my business. Well, time goes by, I start to get comfortable. I'm talking to people. Everybody knows the situation now. Well, I started to get comfortable in the pod. Man, one day, at this time, I didn't know what happened. All I know is 2 dudes got to rumbling. Now, this fight was pretty crazy. And it wasn't just like the freaking ninja moves, which there wasn't no ninja moves. It wasn't just the fight. It was what I was hearing while the fight was taking place. It really confused me. I didn't understand what was going on, and I don't know, I think that led to it ultimately being funnier than it was, but mind you, it was freaking hilarious. These guys, before the fight breaks out, before they actually start throwing hands, they're like arguing, and it was like, first dude's like, said something along the lines of, you didn't think I was gonna find out? So I'm like wondering, I'm thinking, man, this dude must have stole something from him. Man, this is crazy. And the other guy, got to talk junk. He said, I ain't care if you found out or not. Now, this is when I got a little confused. The first dude comes right back with, that's not what she told me. So now I'm thinking, oh snap, these 2 dudes know the same girl. This a fight over a chick on the land. They're fighting over, one of their girlfriends or something. And I'm like, oh my God, man, this is crazy. Thinking to myself, you don't mess with another man's woman. It's about to get real. Like I said, I'm green, so I'm kind of just in the I'm playing the shadows right now. I'm playing the cut. I'm back. I'm just watching the fight. But they haven't started fighting yet. Actually, the argument, the screaming, the hollering continues on for a little while. The trash talk immediately began to escalate. One dude to the next. This ain't what you want. You don't want none of this. I'm about to rock your world. Rock your world? Where they do that at? I don't know, man. It was just getting heated. The whole thing was getting heated. Next thing you know, one dude says something, another dude said another thing. They talking about the girl and, my property, that's my blah, blah, blah. Can't believe. BOOM! First dude gets stole off on, and everybody in the pod got quiet, and the rumble began. It was just like, bah! They're tussling and wrap up a little bit. Dude gets picked up, slammed. Dude goes to kick him. He grabs his leg, drops, slams him down on the ground. They on top of each other. They're rolling around. Dude grabs him, got him in a headlock. The other guy reaches back, grabs him. I thought he was trying to take his eye out. Dude lets go of him. They get up. They start to rumble again. But right before the rumbling happens, another dude joins this rumble. We're going to pause right here for a second. One thing you don't really want to do, it's got to be really some extenuating circumstances for you to do this. But one thing you definitely do not want to do while locked up is throw yourself in the mix of a fight. Anything can happen, man. If that guy's about to stab that guy, you might end up being the one who gets stabbed instead. That's not what you want, man. And I'm just throwing that out there. Whatever. You might get hit, this and that. Next thing you know, you're having to deal with the same issue. So that's not what you do. You don't want to do it. It's just not what you do. You don't want to do it. Unpause. Dude jumps in the middle of the fight. Bow! He gets hit immediately. Goes down. Everything happened so quickly I couldn't quite hear what this person had said. But it sounded something like, don't hurt him. It was something along the lines of like, what are you doing? It was something like that. Please stop, don't hurt him. Boom. The dude that had jumped in the middle of it got hit. Bow, went straight down. And the dude who hit him stopped the fight and fell down on the ground and was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry I hit you. And the dude on the ground was like, you meant to do that. And they crying and they hollering. I'm seriously confused at what's going on at this moment. But in the midst of the dude dropping down to help that dude, the other dude just comes up with like a straight football punt to the face and chest region. Like he kicked him anywhere from like right here to right here. Like you couldn't really tell because the sound was just like, blue. Dude falls backwards. The guy on the ground screaming again. What are you doing? It's all weird as hell to me. I'm really confused. I'm like, I like look at the people around me like, yo, what's going on? I was confused. I told you I was green. I didn't understand this. I didn't know what was going on. Y'all probably already know what's going on, and I haven't even told you yet. I didn't know. Or maybe I just choose to not believe what all the clues were leading up to, because it was a little weird to me. I ain't never seen no situation like this before. Mind you, the fight continues. The dude who jumped in the middle of it gets up. The other dude's on they the one dude. They just rumbling. The third dude that jumped in the middle of the fight's like pulling on the guy on top of him, like, get off of him! Get off of him! That's what he sounded like, ladies and gentlemen. That is exactly what or at least that's what he sounds like in my head now. Like 15 years later. So he sounded like the sweet one. I don't know why it sounds like the sweet one in my head, but that's what it sounds like. And they're rumbling, they're fighting. They're fighting. That's all you're hearing. I don't know why I'm doing this. What is this? I don't know. Look, so they're fighting. That's what's going on. The fight gets broke up by the police. The police come in. They got the dudes, one on the ground. They pulled the other guy off. The third one is like tripping out with the sweet one voice. Like, I love him. That's when my mouth dropped open. I was like, what? What? No. No, that's not cool. You don't do that. where you don't do that at all. I love him. This blew my mind, ladies. I was completely lost. That when I turned around, the dude standing next to me is looking at me, he's laughing. He knows that I have no clue of what was going on or why it was going on. Let me give you a quick description of the third dude who tried to break the fight up. So he was in the shower when the fight broke out. He got out the shower and put on the smallest pair of white slingshots I have ever seen in my life. Are you kidding me right now? This dude looked like, I don't know, straight out of a jockey ad out of a men's magazine. I don't know what he thought he was doing, but that's what he did. That's all he was wearing when he tried to stop the fight. At least he put that on. This dude is the type of dude, and yes, this is true. He was walking around the pod pretty much every day with, the shirt either really tight, or he would pull the top up and through the thing, or he would wear like a shirt tied on his head all crazy looking like the Chiquita Banana Lady. Like, this was, he was what he was, I didn't know how to take this. I was just watching this whole thing go down. You got this half-naked man in the tightest Speedo I've ever seen in my life trying to stop two dudes from fighting. And this is what the fight was about. It was about that dude. This is the first time I've ever in my life seen anything like this. These dudes were fighting over that dude. How did I not know that was going on in this pod? I have no clue. I'm going to go and own up and just say, I was green as all get out, and I don't know how I didn't know. But these dudes were definitely in the pod having a love triangle. This was like Twilight with criminals. It was absolutely crazy. I couldn't believe it. These two dudes was just fighting over that dude? Look, man, I know one of the dudes, his girlfriend used to come see him because one time I went to visitation with him and I could hear him there. Baby, I love you and I miss you and I want you to, love me and miss me and wait for me and, don't give Jody all the tricks. And he'd tell it, he just saying, talking to his old lady. But he come back to the pod and he's humping a man. And then he fought over the man. That's my property. You think I'm gonna go find out about this? I love her. That's a boy. That's not a her, that's a him. I was confused, I swear. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, how did I not know that this was going on? I didn't think it was real. But I'll tell you one thing that's true. Ain't nobody raping nobody in prison no more. Well, I don't know if they ever did it, as a matter of fact, because it never happened in any prison I was at. There might have been some weird touching sexual advances, but it was no. There's too many people in prison these days that they'll give it to you. You ain't got to work for it. They give it right to you. And that's the situation right here. This man came to prison, met him a man that he thought was pretty. Don't look at me like that. Stop looking at me like that, bro. Met a man that he thought was pretty. I guess they was kissing and doing all types of other things. Well, another man came into the pod. He also seen a man that he thought was pretty. Too bad that man that he saw that he thought was pretty was also already seen by another man that thought he was pretty. And they had already done some things. And then he had done some things with that man. And the other man found out about it. And it became a Jerry Springer episode. I mean, for real. And now, can you just imagine two grown men fighting with this little skinny dude trying to break it up, and the whole time he's like, the sweet one, or whatever he said. I don't know. He was just like, please don't. And the guy's like, I love him. I love her. Other guy, I love her. You love me? Bam! Got stole, fell down. I'm so sorry. You know, boom, dude, he falls back. They get the running, police come split it up. The funny thing is, they start to take the first two dudes fighting out, and the other dude is just like, if you take it down, you're gonna take me too. And like ran and jumped on the police. Police rocked them. And I don't mean in any illicit way. I mean physically dumped this dude on his neck, and he immediately got quiet. All you could hear was like a raspy breathing. Like he was out. He was just out. They just picked him up and carried him out of the pod. Man, I'm gonna tell you what. When you are locked up, minding your business is a big thing. But you have got to pay attention to your surroundings. You can't go and do your time, with a blind eye. I know they say, cut a blind eye to that situation, whatever. I don't know how it works, but you got to know what's going on, because I could have said something to one of them that had triggered them and I wouldn't even know why. You know what I'm saying? I could have said something like, just joking around like, you think that dude's cute. And then I could have got beat up because he really did think he was cute. You know what I'm saying? So you got to know the people you're around. You got to know the situation you're in, and you got to understand where you're at. And you got to play the role. Play your role. Stay in your lane. I don't claim to be no gangster. I ain't no gangster. I ain't no fighter or nothing. I will fight, but I would rather not. But I'll tell you what, I would have loved to have known this situation, because, man, I didn't talk to these dudes. I played cards with these dudes, and I wondered why other people were looking at me like I was a weirdo. Now I know why. Man, I hope those people didn't think that I was humping that man. Hey, Cody, if you seen me playing cards with that dude, would you have thought he was my boyfriend?
Probably.
So there's some things I regret. I learned real quick, though, ladies and gentlemen. I learned real quick who to play with and who. Sometimes I just say things that just appalled at what they sound like after they come out of my mouth. I wasn't playing with no man. So get that out of your head. I just want y'all to know that watching these people fight and hearing these things and then having to think, like, when the light went off and I understood what the fight was about, it was the funniest damn thing that had happened to me in a long time. I literally could not believe it. So if you know somebody that's locked up, or if maybe find yourself in a position where you might have to go back to jail, don't be gay for the stay. Don't fall into that trap. If you gay, just be gay. But if you not, and you just have a problem keeping it in your pants no matter where you're at, well, sure, you got more problems than being locked up. That being said, enjoy life, the free world, and make the most of every day. Peace!